Good morning, good afternoon. Hey, I want to just talk about the Vikings and just what's kind of been going on with their play on the road, particularly against our division rivals. We've only had two road games so far, but against Packers and Bears. So, um, these are really important games, and so far we were 2-2, which not the worst thing in the world, but just because everybody else is 3-1, there's no 4-0 teams. But we do have two of the 3-1 teams in our division, in the Packers and Bears. So we're ready. We have some ground makeup there. The Lions are 2-0-1. So right now we're sitting in last place. Not time to panic yet, although it does have a feel of kind of like the wheels are starting to fall off. It just has that feeling, right? It has that like early 2000s feeling, especially in back-to-back years in 2003 and 2004 when we started 6-0, and the next year 5-1. Both seasons we finished 3-7, and there's just weird stuff kind of happening there. I don't know, it just has a weird feeling to it this year. Like, not sure. Anyways, moving on. This other guy that I watched on YouTube, called Purple FTW, he's really good. And so, anyways, he broke down some game film on the Bears on the 6 sacks, and what really concerned me was that it wasn't really anything the Bears did. Like 5 out of the 6 sacks, they brought 4 guys. That's it. And I can't remember. It was at least on half of the plays we had max protect. So we had max protection. 6 guys in. So we had 5 offensive linemen, actually 7. We'd have Rudolph in, and then we had Cook to kind of pick up a blitz or chip or whatever. And they still sacked us. And the scary thing is nothing, like I said, nothing they did that was like, they were smart defense. A couple of guys like Eddie Goldman a couple times would, engage one of the guards and kind of draw Bradbury in, and that way it would single up other guys. So they did a good job on that. But our guys just got beat flat out, mauled, manhandled, whatever you want to call it. They just didn't perform. And there were a couple of those plays where Kirk Cousins held on to it a little bit too much, but he also did a side view of the play, and guys aren't open. And so we're doing these long routes. Everybody complains, why don't we throw a ball deep? Well, a lot of these plays, there were some long routes, right? And nobody's open now. So I don't know. And so, yeah, he has to hold on to the ball to make sure, nobody's open, right? Or to see if somebody comes open. And nobody was getting open. But there were a couple plays on 2 of the sacks at least. There was a little bit of a crease where he could have stepped up and at least bought more time or ran. But it's not all on him. I am not a Kirk Cousins advocate. I didn't like the signing to begin with. He didn't really warrant that type of contract. He didn't do anything in Washington. I'll put up good stats, but stats can be deceiving sometimes. Just like this game, for example, he had blah blah blah. Where's that? 233 yards passing, 27 out of 36. Didn't throw an interception. Against the Bears, okay, it's not the worst stat ever, but a lot of those yards came the last 2 possessions of the game, and they didn't do nothing. But then I also want to talk about our defense. A lot of people out there, Vikings fans, are like, well, our defense kept us in the game. Our defense. I'm going to be critical of them because that is our strong point. And if we're supposed to be a defense-oriented team first, then that should be that should be the strong point of our team. And so our defense, I'm looking at these 2 road games against Green Bay and Chicago. Our defense had the chance to come out early and set the tone. And they absolutely laid an egg in both games. And we are the type of team that cannot fall behind early because we give that touchdown right away in both games. And then our offense sputters. Then all of a sudden it's like, whoa. Then if they score again, then like, wow, we're playing catch up, most of the rest of the game. Now, Yeah, both games, Green Bay and Chicago, their defense did settle down. I think the Bears game was more of a product of like they knew that we couldn't do anything offensively, so they just called a very vanilla game plan after that. Just don't make any mistakes, basically. So I really feel like if they had a chance to really put the pedal to the metal, they probably would have, if that makes sense, But they also had a backup quarterback in, didn't want to, I guess, call any crazy plays. That's my thought on that. They knew they had us. We couldn't do anything offensively, so just play smart. I think that's why they didn't score more than they did. The Packers game, I will give credit to our defense there. Mike Zimmer made adjustments, so I will give him credit that, but he also put us in 21-0 hole. Now, what I noticed about Mike Zimmer is I love the guy. I do. Now, I think he's changed the culture in Minnesota for sure, but big games, big situations, I feel like he gets outcoached a lot. And as much as I like him, this can only go on for so long. There's too many times in a big game or in a big situation where we get outcoached, Yeah, I don't know. Go back to the Saints game in 2017, the playoff game, where the second half we couldn't stop Drew Brees. We kind of got lucky, obviously, at that miracle play. And then the Eagles game got coached. He did. It's plain and simple. Our guys didn't help us by the way we performed, but they were not prepared for what the Eagles brought. All right, and then it's last year. A bunch of games, but the game, again, the one that really sticks out is the last game they were against the Bears. They go on these long drives and kind of get out coached. I feel like you got out coached again against the Packers the first time we played them this year and yesterday, or Sunday against the Bears, where he just seems to, they can't get a feel for once he gets a feel for what the offense does, I feel like he's really good at making adjustments at halftime. I will give him that. He's really good at that, but man, that first quarter can be scary sometimes, especially on the road where I feel like we're just on ice skates, and it showed up. So I want to look at some of these drives real quick here. I kind of went back and I looked at mainly the first quarter because that's been a problem on defense in these games against Green Bay and Chicago. So against the Packers, first drive of the game, they go down 4 plays, 75 yards. All right. They had 10 days to prepare, coming off Thursday game. Okay, it is what it is. Kind of, let that one go. Now, he also scripts plays for 15, Matt LaFleur. So does Matt Nagy. And I also think that Zimmer kind of struggles against that. And then he gets a feel for what they're trying to do. Then he does a better job. So then here, Packers' second drive, 11 plays. That's an 11-play drive. Ends up in a touchdown. Then we had a fumble on offense. Then they have a short field, 4 plays, 33 yards, touchdown. So, yeah, our defense after that didn't give up any points the rest of the game. But you can't give up touchdowns in your first 3 drives. You just can't do that. And so they put us in a 21-0 hole. Offense clawed its way back, but, old number 8, we know he did at the end of the game. Bears game. First 3 drives, because their second drive ended up punting. This is what they did to us, exactly what they did to us last season, especially in the Week 17 game. Their first drive of the game was aided by a penalty, which, wasn't the most egregious, but it was also, it was a right call, in my opinion. He did kind of, he hooked them a little bit, and the guy kind of lost his momentum, and so it is what it is. But having said that, they went on a 14-play, 75-yard drive that took up 7 minutes, 16 seconds off the clock. If you're an elite defense, and if you want to come out and make set the tone, you can't give up those plays. You cannot give up a 14-play drive. And then their third drive, which was right before halftime, which Mike Zimmer called timeout, which was inexcusable, a 16-play, 57-yard drive. Thankfully, only resulted in a field goal. but it took up to 6 minutes 36 seconds and went into halftime. So we only had 2 possessions on offense. I really can't blame our offense. Diggs with the fumble, I get it, not great. But there's only so much you can do when you have the ball for 2 possessions and a half. Your defense gave up 30 plays on 2 drives. 2 drives, 30 plays. Over 130 yards, gave 10 points, and almost 14 minutes time possession. That's almost a full quarter. So I'm putting a lot of this on our defense, okay? Because that can't happen. You can't give up. So out of these 5 drives against the Packers and Bears in the first quarter, the 1 drive in the second quarter for the Bears, 3 of those drives have been over 10 plays. And 3 of those drives have been 6 minutes or longer. Well, the 1 Packers drive was 5 minutes, 58 seconds. Whatever, 6 minutes. So, again, I don't know what it is. I think LaFleur and Matt Nagy are a little more creative offensively. So I think Zimmer struggles with offensive minds like that, like Sean McVay last year. I think he struggles with guys like that. I really do. I really feel like he struggles with offensive minds. John Gruden's an offensive mind, but they just don't have the talent. The Falcons, Dan Quinn is a defensive guy. So, our road games are a problem. And look, here's our schedule. Here is our schedule. Okay. This is what I wrote down at the beginning of the year. You have Atlanta, Green Bay, Oakland, Chicago. I thought the best we could do was 3-1, worst 1-3. So we go 2-2. It's not bad. So then we got at the Giants, Philly, at Detroit, Washington. Easily our best chance of the season to go on a run. 4 winnable games. It's not likely we're going to win all 4 based off the way we've been playing, but here's the thing. I think 9 wins could get you in the playoffs, but 10 I think definitely should. So you got to aim for the 10 wins. So we have to go 8-4 these next 12 games. Well, look at the third quarter of the year, where we are at Kansas City, at Dallas, at Seattle. We're a bad road team. Those are 3 very difficult places to play. Those are very high likely chance that we lose all 3 of those games. I mean, seriously. And then you have at the Chargers, December 15th. Like, these are tough, man. These are some tough games. So those are potential 4 losses right there, which means we'd have to sweep out everything else. It's going to be tough. So we have to win this week against the Giants. Have to. Again, Zimmer against rookie quarterbacks. I don't have the stats for you. I feel like there's not a lot of game film on a team or, a certain player with that team. I feel like he struggles again. Once he gets the feel, though. So, again, I think this first quarter has the potential to be pretty rough again. One more thing. Kyle Rudolph. All right. I like the guy. I really do. It's not all his fault. I know he's definitely lost speed. But this is more on our front office, which I feel like they've kind of made some blunders here with some of the offensive line stuff they've done with Kirk Cousins. And, I thought they should let Rudy go in the offseason. I really did. It wasn't his production just was slipping. He's getting older. You could tell he's losing speed. But they extended him. But, it's like, why? Okay, why? Look at his stats. 1 target against the Bears. 1 catch, 12 yards. Against Green Bay, he had 3 catches for 9 yards on 4 targets. Didn't have a single target against the Falcons. And he had 1 target against the Raiders. So he has a total of he has 6 targets in 4 games. These 5 catches for like 20 yards or something, 20-some yards. That's what you extended them for? Really? Seriously? That's what you extended them for? Yeah. I need to change. And when C.J. Ham, our fullback, at one point in the third quarter was our leading receiver in terms of targets. Yeah. Again, with again, I just want to talk about the slow start by our defense, especially these first quarters on the road. I put it on them. I really do. I feel like they have a chance to set the tone with both these games, and they've come out and given up points. So, big game against Giants. I feel like this has potential of either it's either going to get us back on track, or if we lose, I think the wheels are going to come off. I do. I feel like this could be the beginning of the end, and we shall see. Until then, go Vikes. Have fun.